Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we cannot allow Virginians to be caught in a lavender haze when it comes to entertainment ticket prices.
Thank you.
Consumers are experiencing a blank space upon checkout with surprise, unadvertised fees, leaving them with feelings of bad blood. These mean, treacherous fees at a higher cost to the advertised ticket price, but leave consumers with sweet nothing in return. HB 277 aims to remedy this, and our end game is to ensure the display price is a safe and sound, really what Virginians are going to pay. We need to speak now, pass HB 277, and support this fearless measure for consumer protection. I hope it's the will of the body to engross this bill and pass it on to its third reading.
The delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Krizik.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the delegate yield for a question?
Will the delegate yield?
I yield, Mr. Speaker.
Can you tell me why?
Mr. Speaker, I'd answer the delegate that you need to calm down.
Mr. Speaker, speaking to the bill.
The delegate has the floor.
Mr. Speaker, I think we all need to shake it off.
The delegate from Powhatan, you have something to add. Delegate Ware.
With your permission, Mr. Speaker, I do.
Be swift.
Mr. Speaker, you have just stolen my thunder.
Delegate Zare.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Sex is a beautiful thing.
Tragically, the difference between the House and the Senate was grammatical, and apparently the Senate bill is grammatically correct.
Move to report.
So, all right, it's been properly moved.
Mr. Speaker.
Delegate from Kilgore, Delegate Scott.
Mr. Speaker, on page,
Delegate Kilgore. Delegate
yeah,
from
that's
Scott.
all right. That's no problem. On page 14, Mr. Speaker.
The delegate from Kilgore.
From Scott.
Delegate Scott.
That's all right. That's all right.
A delegate from Scott, Delegate Kilgore.
Mr. Speaker.
Senator has the floor.
Madam President, members of the body, when the senior senator from Prince William County asked me to carry this bill about sewage systems, he basically told me that it would be a real drain on him for him to actually carry and talk about this bill, and that it would be a waste. But I said to the senior senator of Prince William County, don't worry, I'm at your disposal. And I wanted to make sure that everybody in this chamber knows that this bill is not a stinker. So what we're going to do right now, so I'm going to tell you about this bill so we can flush out the facts. No? Not good? Ladies and gentlemen, this bill, this monumental piece of legislation says... Oh, wait a minute. I didn't mean that. Since we're on the subject. Oh, heck, let's this thing go by for the day. Okay. Madam President, members of the chamber, this bill says that a locality shall review the Department of Health's database prior to notifying the owners of an alternative or conventional on-site sewage system. And you know, this reminds me of a joke my kid told me one time. My son, Chandler, asked me one time, he said, Dad, why did the toilet paper roll down the hill? And I said, son, and he said, because it wanted to get to the bottom. To the bottom. Okay, Madam President, I have run out of waste sewage puns, so I guess I will just have to recycle them. And that's all I got left in the tank. So, ladies and gentlemen, for those reasons, having now set a new record on the number of puns here in this chamber, I move the Senate Bill HB 1052's, or Senate House Bill 1052's passage. Thank you, Madam President.
Ayes 19, noes 20.
Ayes 19, noes 20. The bill is flushed.
Regular
Delegate has the floor.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, Ursula Le Guin wrote one of the most powerful stories I've ever read. It's called The Ones Who Walk Away from Omalis. It's a story about a city called Omalis. Omalis is perfect, a beautiful city, a bright, towered city by the sea. It is an everlasting festival. There is plenty of food for all. There is no crime, no discontent, no boredom, and no illness.
Senator Stanley? No.
Don't let him.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman. Let's hear Senator Stanley, please.
Mr. Chairman. I know that, in our rural area, our
Senator
definition.
Stanley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our definition in where you live, Delegate Wilt, of fast food is running over a squirrel at 70 miles an hour. And when you supersize it, it's when you hit 2.
And next we'll turn to Ms. Vick.
Vic Nichols, 670, no law invalidates constitutional rights. Minors don't have adult rights.
Do the rules state that the person can have their face covered?
I'm not sure about that. We'll look into that. Go ahead, Ms. Vick.
For 670, no law invalidates constitutional rights.
Madam
Minors
Chair,
don't have
point of
adult
order.
rights. 11.
I'm going to agree with my colleague that the entirety of the point of having the camera on is that we know who we're talking to. And so I will stand with my colleague and say if they're not going to show their face, that's the entirety of the point of why we have the cameras on.
Okay, Chair.
So Muslims can't speak?
Ms. Nichols, if you would like to address us, we would like your camera on and we would like your face showing. That's what the chair has determined today. Would you
That
like
was
to
not
continue?
on the list.
All right, thank you.
And I've been doxxed by your.
Thank you. All right.
But Vic Nichols, I will give you time just to say if you support or if you're against, but I will need you to fully show your face. To facilitate a respectful and deliberative exchange, non-religious face coverings are prohibited per policy. So we will need.
This is a religious face covering. And yes, I do oppose the bill.
All right.
My religion is not any of your business.
Clotted, foul-smelling heads stand near a rusty bucket. The floor is dirt and a little damp to the touch, as a cellar usually is.
Madam President, I move that the Senate insist on its amendments and respectfully request a committee of conference. Respectfully? I have no respect. Forcefully, that's right. We forcefully request a committee of conference. We forcefully demand a committee of conference.
I can tell that it is late. The question is, shall the Senate insist on its amendment and respectfully request a committee of conference on the bill? Those
pickles and acidified vegetables gross sales.
The delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Simon.
Mr. Speaker, speaking to the bill.
Of course, the delegate has the floor.
Mr. Speaker, members of the House, I was prepared at the end of the session yesterday to vote for this bill, which I thought was a pretty good bill. But then, Mr. Speaker, I was doom scrolling Twitter yesterday, and I caught this picture. I don't know how I missed this detail before, but I noticed that behind the patron are a number of members who apparently had received cake pops before the presentation. And Mr. Speaker, I don't know exactly where it is in Jefferson's manual, but I'm pretty sure there's a rule that says if you're going to bring cake pops to the floor, you need to bring enough to share with the whole class, Mr. Speaker. And so, Mr. Speaker, given that the cake pops didn't make it down to this end of the floor, I hope that, I don't know, I'll speak for myself, Mr. Speaker. I can't support this bill anymore. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The delegate from Fauquier, Delegate Weber.
He's just, Mr. Speaker, speaking to the bill.
The delegate has the floor.
Thank goodness I brought cake pops to the floor instead of pickles. And I am the offender, not the patron of the bill. So I just would like to make that abundantly clear who brought cake pops to the floor. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Well, thankfully, he gave me a cake pop. So, shall the bill pass? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 94, noes 2.
Ayes 94, noes 2. The bill passes.
Delegate Krizek.
I have
Question.
just 2 questions, Madam Chair.
Delegate has the floor.
One is, have you brought any French fries to show us today that we can?
I had season.
It's out of season?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
All right.
When House Bill 909 went over and when Senate Bill 676 was over and the Senate did some funky things with it, including adding like a delayed and...
I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Keep going.
Funky.
Oh, funky. Oh, I'm sorry.
Like Funky Town.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So they did some weird things over there.
The Delegate Lopez, personal to him, we actually towed his vehicle twice. The last time I towed him, he parked illegally. He said he did. I was going to let him go, but he ended up paying for his fee. He said he had to. I got a 30-minute conversation between me and him outside my lot that day, begging him to sit down democratically and work the issues out.
I wish I could have been as calm. I was banging on the gavel. Yeah, you remember.
I was not.
Except sometimes the door rattles terribly and opens, and a person or several people are there. One of them may come in and kick the child to make him stand up.
Okay, motion to report and refer to finance.
That's not good.
And I'll probably be in the morning, okay? Unless there's an alternative motion, please open the roll.
Well, Speaker, given that he thinks optometrists ought to be able to testify as expert witnesses, I would ask the delegate if he can please read for me the lowest line that he's capable of reading here on this chart.
Madam
Yes,
Speaker,
Delegate.
I see what he did there.
Yes.
But I would answer the good delegate that clearly I hope that he can see that we are running out of time.
One thing I'm fascinated with is eating.
The pickle bill.
Potato chips.
You ordered a pizza, pepperoni and mushrooms.
A chicken sandwich.
Cocktails to go bill.
French fries.
World's oldest edible ham.
Cake pops.
Thank you, Mr.
Mr. Squeaker.
If the child were brought up into the sunlight out of the vile place, if it were clean, and if their child was fed or comforted.
Chair recognizes the senator from Eastern Fairfax County, Senator Sassler.
Not yet. I'm not that old.
I'm sorry, Senator, it's habit. Senator Sorovel.
I don't know whether to be offended or not.
Chair calls on the senator from Eastern Fairfax County, Senator Saslaw. Old habits are hard to die, Senator. Please forgive me. Senator Sorovel.
Let me tell you something, Madam President. Good afternoon, Madam President.
Good afternoon.
Appreciate it. I'm going to get probably 2 more texts from him now.
Bill. Hey, Bill. And I got your back, too. You know that. And I love you.
Perfect city. Sometimes a man or woman who sees the child falls silent for a day or two. Then,
whereas on February 29th, 2024, the annual House Senate basketball game, the game, was held at the Stuart Siegel Center to benefit the Massey Cancer Center. And whereas during such game, the House of Delegates scored a 2-point basket while only having 2 elected members of the House of Delegates on the floor, in violation of the previously agreed rules of the game. And whereas the House of Delegates claims to have won the game only by virtue of the illegal basket, and resolved by the Senate of Virginia, being the upper chamber and the superior body, hereby declares that the outcome of the 2024 House-Senate basketball game was a tie. And be it resolved further that the Clerk of the Senate and Clerk of the House of Delegates shall jointly determine a location for the trophy for such game to reside at a neutral location pending next year's game. Be it further resolved that the Clerk of the Senate shall transmit a copy of this resolution to the Clerk of the House of Delegates and all of its members.
They walk away from Omalas. Mr. Speaker, I brought forward a bill this session that would have required that Virginia's EV future not be built on the backs of child slaves in Africa. It did not get a hearing. I hope that next session, Mr. Speaker, we can be among those who are willing to walk away from Omalas. Thank you.
We decided to get you your very own personal Mr. Speaker Funko Pop.
No impact to our borrowing capacity and credit rating, public-private partnership with Virginia wins.
All right, so we have 2 bills on our docket, and both of the patrons asked that those bills be stricken. And so, there's a motion, second. All in favor? Do we have? Oh, it'd be a roll call, sorry. A voice, it will be a voice. So all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Both bills are stricken. That completes the docket.